I'm coming at you live on tape from Sydney, Ohio. And I wish I wasn't because it feels like -12 outside. And my furnace is trying desperately to keep up, keeping it warm in here. And we are talking about Scott Steiner versus Triple H in WWE. And this was one of the worst feuds in WWE history. With one of the worst matches in WWE history. Now, Triple H in 2002 had come back from a quadricep injury. Horrible quadricep injury. And had come back out of shape. But by this point in 2003, he had gotten back into decent shape. But he still wasn't putting on the best matches. But in 2002, Vince McMahon was signing all those WCW guys who did not come with the company of WCW. They had held out their contracts. And in late 2002, that meant Scott Steiner, who was a past world champion in WCW. He debuted at Survivor Series, cleaned house, and delivered a Steiner-esque promo. And then Eric Bischoff, who was general manager of Raw, and Stephanie McMahon, who was general manager of SmackDown, had a bidding war over who was going to get Scott Steiner, which is probably the only bidding war Scott Steiner ever had over him, because nobody ever wanted Scott Steiner, except when he was in the Steiner Brothers. He chose Raw after Stephanie McMahon turned down his sexual advances, and because Eric Bischoff offered him a guaranteed title shot, with Triple H holding the title that Eric Bischoff gave him. Now, when this came to Triple H's attention, he said the title shots are earned, much like the title he earned, which Eric Bischoff gave him. Scott Steiner, though, said he wanted his title shot. And so him and Triple H got into this feud over the title shot Scott Steiner was going to get at the Royal Rumble. At first, they had an arm wrestling match. Now, they're not actually getting physical with each other. They're having an arm wrestling match. These are two jacked up, pumped up dudes on steroids having a fake arm wrestling match. As you can see, we're all thrilled. Then they decide to see who has the better physique, with Triple H bringing in a bunch of judges in a pose down competition where they are literally getting in each other's faces, striking these poses to see who has the better physique. Triple H won, and then the judges attacked Scott Steiner, which Scott Steiner cleared house. Then they're going to have a weightlifting competition. A bench press competition. Scott Steiner told them to put on 535 pounds, which even the strongest person could not bench press 535 pounds. Well, maybe the strongest person could, but not Scott Steiner. He would rip even more pectoral muscles than he's already ripped in his career. At which point, Triple H mocked him, and Scott Steiner beat him down in the ring and stripped him naked. And this was one step away from them getting an oil in wrestling. This led to their match at the Royal Rumble, with Ric Flair in Triple H's corner and Scott Steiner in his own corner, because Scott Steiner has multiple personalities. Now, Scott Steiner is dealing with a bunch of nagging injuries, including something called drop foot syndrome, which is where you cannot lift the front of your foot up. So I'm not sure how he lifts his feet up, but he manages to, though he does have drop foot syndrome. I assume he has to lift them up from the back, which is why he is not moving too well. Now, I'm guessing that Triple H produced this match. And Triple H's matches during this time, he didn't put on any good matches during this time. Because he came in out of shape, got back in shape, but was still weighed down by the many, many, many steroids he had taken. And he was also suffering from a few injuries. So all this match consisted of was Scott Steiner beating down Triple H. They fought on the outside a lot. Scott Steiner delivered about 12 overhead belly-to-bellies. Triple H bled, and finally Triple H got the DQ. But Scott Steiner got the DQ victory when Triple H used a sledgehammer. Now, the crowd turned on both of them during this match and started booing the shit out of the match halfway through. So you're thinking, WWE's not going to do a rematch. They're not going to do a rematch. They realized this match was a horrible idea. Let's not do it again. But they did it again at No Way Out. Now, between the Royal Rumble and No Way Out, Triple H formed Evolution. So in this match, Evolution got involved before Triple H ended up smacking Steiner with the belt and getting an actual 1-2-3 victory. Now you're thinking, okay, that's it. Steiner, they're going to let Steiner go. Because once again, this match was horrible. The best part about it was the best part about this feud was that it formed Evolution. But Steiner did not get released. Instead, he was stuck with Test, another roided up guy, and Stacy Keibler as their manager, and stuck in tag team matches for the rest of his contract. Triple H kept the title somehow. I think he was sucking Vince McMahon's cock, personally, until eventually Goldberg took it off him. And then he got the title back from Goldberg. He still wasn't putting on good matches, but he continued to dominate the title. Scott Steiner would later go to TNA, where he would be kind of used in the main event, kind of used as a tag team guy, kind of used as a mid-carder. You know, he'd be around that area. Kind of upper mid-card area. Upper mid-card, lower main event area. Triple H would eventually start to lose the title and put people over when Batista and John Cena came to the main event level. But we all remember these two matches because of just how horrible they were. And you think you do a really bad match, one of the worst matches in WWE history, you don't do a sequel, but WWF did a sequel. Now, personally, I've watched both these matches, And I don't think either of them are as bad as the AJ Styles Shane McMahon match from that one WrestleMania. Because in these matches between Scott Steiner and Triple H, they tell a story. And that AJ Styles Shane McMahon match was just a spot fest. No storytelling. It was just a spot fest of people going through tables, hitting each other with ladders and chairs. And that's all it was. And I turned off WrestleMania after that match. And that is the last thing you want from a viewer. I could have kept watching wrestling after the Scott Steiner Triple H match because it was laughably bad. And it was like, I want to see how much worse this can get. So that's the Scott Steiner Triple H feud. We are not doing Alien Resurrection this week because Alien Resurrection is no longer free, though I have it on DVD. I will not pay for it, though I have it on DVD. As part of my 4-pack of Alien movies. I will not tell you to pay for it because it is absolutely a horrible movie. Some reason Hulu took it off. Instead, we are doing Mazes and Monsters, the movie that almost destroyed Tom Hanks' career before his career almost got started. So see you then.